All right, well, the National is a couple weeks away. It's really coming up fast. It's really hard to believe. I've been away from the channel for a little bit, but I do have some huge news. My girlfriend and I flew to Las Vegas and got married about a week ago. We'd been together for about a year and a half, and we got engaged and decided originally that we're probably going to get married around December. And then it kind of came down to, well, I got a 2-week window before I head down to like Michigan and Chicago on vacation. And so why not now? And so we actually got online and booked a Las Vegas wedding package that came with everything right down from the limo to the venue, and didn't get married by Elvis. But it basically an all-inclusive thing where they kind of took care of everything, and it was phenomenal. And so I got married, and so it was a great time. But it's been really busy because both my wife and I own homes, and so we are selling one of those homes. And the first day we put it on the market, we had 5 showings, 5 offers, and ended up getting over asking. So that's pending right now, meaning there's a lot of moving involved and that sort of thing. So it's been very busy, and I'm leaving again tomorrow to fly down to Michigan before ending up in Chicago for the National. So just wanted to say that's the main reason why I've been away from the channel for a while. I did want to do another National video, and so here we are. Main topics of, obviously, get married, had to mention that. Before I get too far into this also, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you'd consider doing so, that'd be awesome. I do plan on having 1 to 2 videos for each day of the National while I'm at the show. In the past, the Wi-Fi has been pretty good at the hotel, so I've been able to upload in the evenings. And so if you want to see a lot of like showcase type of content where you get to see what's in the showcases, and oftentimes with prices, sometimes dealers don't have a price, but if you like that type of content, there'll be a lot of it at the National. Also a lot of the like auction house areas and things like that. So that's coming soon. Now, in terms of some big card pickups. All right, so I'm going to start with the cheaper of the 3. And I just recently picked up 2 Topps Chrome Lock It Up Wemby Golds. These are second year. They're numbered to 50, but they're Topps Chrome, they're gold, they're Wemby. We recently got great news that he's got a clean bill of health, and so he's going to be back for the beginning of the season. So just wishing him a long career of great health. Glad to see that he's back from that blood clot there, because it's kind of a scary thing, when, especially with any athlete, but especially when you got a guy that's so young and so promising. And so pick these 2 up. They're in that $40 to $50 range, somewhere around there. I'm a believer. I think he's a great player. I love watching him play. I'm going to get the NBA League Pass just so I can watch him this year. So went ahead and picked those up. Now, the next pickup is the big one. So those are nice cards. I might drop them off at the National to my group subber and submit them. I haven't even had a chance to look at them yet to see what they are condition-wise. Again, it's been a bit of a whirlwind for me lately, so I've been kind of busy with other things. It's 2019. I'm at the National in Chicago. I run across a dealer and his friends who had cracked a ton of Crown Royal. Now, this was the 2018-19 Crown Royal. So think like Luka, Trae Young, that rookie class. He has a card in there that I absolutely love. It is a rookie royalty, Luka Doncic gold, number to 10, die cut card. Amazing card, right? I don't remember, because I didn't write it down. I don't remember exactly what he was asking for it, but I want to say either $350 or $400. Somewhere in that range. I don't think it was any more than 4. If it was $450. Let's say $350 to $450. Okay. I got this saying that if it's rare and fair, go ahead and buy it. I just remember at the time, I found this dealer later in the show, and I didn't have a ton of money left. I had enough to buy it, but that was going to kind of tap my budget at the time. And I passed on the card. going into 2020, 2021, somewhere in that range. A PSA 10 of the same card. I don't remember this. It might not be the exact card because I don't remember the serial number out of 10, but the exact same card out of 10, maybe a different serial number, sold for $6,000. I want to say it's 2021. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but $6,000. And I remember seeing that sale and being like, well, oh well, win some, you lose some. Never going to own that card. It's gone. So a few weeks back, a PSA 9 of this rookie royalty card came up for, I think it went for a few $100s. I should have written it down. It went for a few $100. And I missed it. I had it on my watch list and I forgot about it, right? So I'm like, that would have been a good chance to get this card back. But, if it's only going for, it might have gone as high as 600. I apologize. I didn't look it up. I just haven't had a ton of time. It went for a lot less than what I figured it would, but I missed it. Okay, well, I got a lot of expenses with the wedding and stuff, and it's okay. So, flash forward a couple weeks, and I see that a PSA 10 is listed on eBay, and it's through Probstein. I know people have different opinions about auction houses and stuff like that list on eBay and stuff. I've bought a couple things from Probstein or Probstein, however you want to pronounce it, in the past. I have never had any bad experiences. So they had a PSA 10. And I decided that, I'm going to make a run at this card. But 1,500 is going to be my max. I'll go for it. I might not see one for a while. Put the bid in. I won all in for just under $1,400. And here's the card. So there was a story attached to this card from a national from 6 years ago. I thought I would never, ever be able to get access to this card. I'm not going to drop $6,000 on a card. $1,400 for me, it's kind of pushing it. I don't tend to buy a lot. I did buy a Transcendent Ohtani a while back for like $1,600. That's the most I've ever spent for an individual card, but just under $1,400. It's a beautiful card. It's a PSA 10. It's just phenomenal. But there's a story attached to that card for me, which gave it kind of special meaning. And those back pages has been talking about how you shouldn't starve yourself hobby-wise and just save all of your money for the National. That's an example of how I agree with that. Highly unlikely that I was going to see that card at the National. It's numbered to 10. It's gold. It's just a fantastic card. I'm so pumped to pick that up that it's just a special card to me. Majorly PC. So it went from $6,000 down to under $1,400. I thought it was an absolute steal. Luka, to me, and people argue with me about this, and that's fine. People can have different opinions, but Luka, to me, is a top 3 player in the NBA. I've seen him play a lot, and I think it's a fun debate, actually. But sometimes people just can't debate civilly. If people disagree with you, they start calling you names or tell you that robots are going to take over all of humanity to replace people like you. It's just the craziest stuff that you can imagine. I don't think there's 3 players in the league that I would take over him. This is not some pump and dump. I've sold off a lot of my less rare Luka stuff to buy stuff that's rare. And that's the direction I've decided to go. I'll be watching him on League Pass too. I'm not a big LeBron fan, although that Lucky 13 is still a card I want. It's not about LeBron in that case, it's about the card. And I do have some sentimentality attached to it, which is why I still want that card. If you're going to be at the National and you have a PSA graded LeBron James Lucky 13 rookie numbered to 500, not the Hummer version, let me know because I'm interested. I'd prefer an 8 or a 9. 10's probably going to be out of the budget. 8 or 9 though, BGS is fine. So BGS or PSA, either way. Sorry, there's some mosquitoes out here this evening. Okay, so wanted to give a recap of some big life events recently, plus some cards. Now let's get into the last piece here, negotiating at the National. So I figured this is my 10th National, because my brother says that it's his 11th. And I think I've been to all the ones that he's been to except one. My first one was in Baltimore. I do know that. It was around 2012. So this will be my 10th. I'll give you an example of how things have changed when it comes to negotiating. I remember that first National I went to in Baltimore. There was a seller. I remember this value for some reason. I guess it just stuck in my mind. There was a seller that had 3 cards, and they wanted $185 total. And I said, well, I'd like to make an offer on that. And he just kind of looked at me funny, like his prices were, really fair. They were at or slightly above eBay. They weren't like horrible. But my thought was, it's like, well, if you sell it on eBay, you're going to be paying 12%. Then you got to ship it. And I'm standing here with cash. I think I offered like $165, about $20 off. And the dealer was like offended. And he's just like, oh, I can't believe, that you don't think this is a good deal and blah, blah, blah. They weren't super rare cards. I picked up 2 out of the 3 later for significantly cheaper. That's kind of a side thing. But back to this. So there was a guy standing next to me, a collector. And the dealer was just like, what's your logic on that? I said, well, if you sell on eBay, you're going to pay 10, 12% plus shipping. The guy next to me, not a dealer, but a guy next to me is like, this is not eBay. You're not entitled to this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I never said I was entitled to it. I just made an offer. See, now all the dealers expect people to make offers. I mean, it's not like a horrible thing. And it probably wasn't back then either. It was just a weird situation. And to have like another collector just kind of like chime in, I don't know, it was really bizarre. And I guess in hindsight, I was a little bit ahead of my time on this. Hey, let's make an offer based on minus fees and stuff. And I know that if a card's rare and stuff, that changes everything. I can tell you what one of the cards were, actually. One of the cards was a Topps Chrome Kevin Durant autograph rookie, slabbed authentic by PSA. PSA DNA. I think that was the most expensive of them. If there were one, he wanted 130 or 140. I remember that one specifically because I ended up buying it. It might have been at the same show, actually. I can't remember if it was the same show or the year after. I bought it for 100 from another dealer. And so I kind of laugh about that because it's just like, wow, I guess he did me a favor by not selling it to me because I ended up getting it cheaper anyway, so whatever. My point is, though, when you're negotiating, I kind of take the rule that, I kind of go by a rule that if it's something that's relatively easy to find, and it's just a card I haven't picked up, and it's just like, I haven't gotten around to that, I'm going to try to get that. I try to go 10 to 15% off eBay. I don't go any further than that. I know that rare stuff, it's harder to do that. I get it 100%. And of course the dealer can tell you no. But I also don't really like, I've had a dealer tell me one time, different dealer, tell me one time in the past, hey, I got expenses. It's expensive to come here. And I said, hey, I got expenses too. Like, I live in Alaska, man. At the time I lived in Florida. Like, I got plane tickets. I got hotels. I got all this stuff. Sure, I don't have to pay for a booth, but you get the idea. Everybody's got expenses. Let's go in there. You're paying admission, etc. So, if a dealer gets upset about it, I don't think modern, like, let me rephrase that. If you look at it from a card show perspective now, I don't think any dealer is going to be offended by 10 to 15% off. I just don't see it. Again, if it's rare, that could be a different story. That gets into my next point, and I kind of got into it a couple times already. In situations where there's no comps and something's really rare, my strategy is to just have a discussion with the dealer. It's hard to do, I know, when the table's really slammed and stuff, but I go to this show and I stay all 5 days, so I end up having time to talk to a lot of these dealers. If it's super hard to find, I will hear the dealer out. If I don't think a card is worth something, I will listen to the dealer and say, well, what are your thoughts on this? How are you getting to your number? But I don't say it in like a confrontational way or like a, snarky way or anything like that. I'm basically just asking, like, what are your thoughts? Because sometimes dealers really make good points. Believe it or not, I know sometimes collectors don't want to admit this, but a lot of these dealers are actually really smart and they're really knowledgeable about cards. And I've had it before where a dealer has talked to me about it and not just selling me on it, but giving like good logical explanations where I'm just like, that kind of makes sense. All right. I do the trust but verify too, but I'm like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I'm down with that. Especially if it's something I can't just go on eBay and pick up. I'll have that discussion. So talk to the dealers. I've also found in the past that if you talk to dealers in general, you get better deals anyway. It's not that you're being fictitious or anything. It's not like you're faking being nice to dealers. Be nice to dealers because they like collecting just like you do. Most of them do anyway. Have a conversation with those dealers. They give you even better deals when you have a conversation with them. Again, don't make it up. Don't do it like fictitiously. But if you have a mutual interest on something, have a conversation with the dealer. I've had it before where I've had a $250 card in my hand and the dealer drops it down to like $210, $220, and I don't even ask. Like, I'm not even asking for a discount. They're just like, well, if you really want that card, I'll do $210 or $220. I mean, like, I think for a while it got like overused when people would say cards are all about relationships. I don't know about that either. But I do think having those conversations is a real thing and is a good thing for collectors also. One last thing. So I go by the 10 to 15% discount unless it's super rare. I go by the have a discussion with dealers, especially if there's no comps. Because sometimes you can give counterpoints to that too, to their logic, and come to an acceptable agreement. Remember, the best deals are the ones where both sides are happy at the end. If you walk away from the table and you buy something and you're kind of ticked off, it's not a great deal. If you walk away from that table and the dealer's ticked off, it's not a great deal. Both sides are happy. Those are the best deals. There's dealers at the show that at this point, I've seen them so many times, they don't know my name, but there's like Alaska, right? It's kind of funny, because you just kind of build that up over time. All right, last thing. I always bring cards to trade or sell to the National. Now, typically for me, it's going to be to trade. I've had different experiences as far as what I get for them. I've had situations where I've gotten full comps on trades. I've had situations where I've taken less for cards on trades. It's kind of like trading for anything, though. If you get a full comp for your card and they're charging you over comp for theirs, it's not a great deal. You want to know what your cards are worth. You want to know what you're buying is worth, or at least come to an agreement on a price and get as fair of a deal as possible. If I have duplicates of a card, or it's a card that's easier to find, I'm more inclined to take a little less. That's my opinion. Some people want the full comps and that's it. You do you. But I always bring cards to trade or sell. And the same goes if you're going to sell. Again, this is my opinion. If I go to sell something, if I've got a $300 card and I'm trying to sell it and somebody offers me $270, I probably take it because, if I put it on eBay, they're going to charge me 12-13%, then I got to ship it. And so I'll look at it like, well, I got to send it to authentication. So that kind of helps because you send it to authentication and then there's no funny business when the buyer receives it. But as a seller, I'd take 10% less. 15 maybe, if it's a player, I got multiples of or less into it or whatever the case may be. But always, in my opinion, always bring cards to trade or sell at the National. You just don't know, too, if you're going to run into some serious cards that you might be a little short on cash for. Maybe you run into something that's $1,500 and you've got $1,700 left. Well, it's a little tough for me. I don't know if I want to end up with $200 left with 2 days left to go at the show. I don't know about that. But I always bring, this year, I'm probably bringing about $2,000 in value of cards to trade. It'll work out. I haven't finalized that yet. I really need to within the next hour or two. it's time to get stuff done because I am leaving tomorrow. Probably a couple thousand worth, and it'll be stuff that if I don't trade, I can just bring back home. I'm fine with it too. But those are just my thoughts. I've been asked in the past, like, what type of budget do you have for the National? You know, that's so situationally dependent. Here's what I can tell you. So I never come home from the National with debt. I'm kind of big on that. If I go on vacation, I'm not going to go on vacation and have debts that it take months to pay off when I get home. I'm not saying I'll never put something on a credit card, but I'm talking like paying it off at the end of the month and I'm not carrying a balance. So I never run up debts. I would say this year I'm going to be in that, probably in that $2,500 range, maybe a little more. But my advice would be don't overextend yourself. Bring what you can afford, and don't bring debts home with you from the show. That's something that people kind of get swept up in sometime at the show. But I am a budget guy. I do have another channel. I haven't posted on it for a while. I know I need to get on that too, Frugal Alaskan. And I'm kind of big on that to pay off all debts and stay debt-free. So with that said, hope that you have a great couple of weeks leading up to the show. I'm probably going to the Lansing card show. It's that weekend before the National. I may or may not make one video around that time. It's going to depend on how much time I have and then if I'm able to go to the show, and there's going to be some logistics. But if I don't make one prior to the National, expect that I will make 1 to 2 per day at the show. Hope that everybody has a great couple weeks. I'll see you in the next one.